The girl. Let her go. Shut up. Come closer. And I kill her. Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. Bang. Too easy. I'm reading through the file of an old court case. It was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. Fugitive data. Terry Falls. Charge, kidnapping, murder. Sentence, death penalty. Fugitive movements. After escaping, Fowles met with and then murdered Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. Recaptured on Eagle Mountain about 8 hours after his escape. Her very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. That was a whole year before Mia and I ever met. "6 years earlier, Mia Fey, first trial." Ugh, I'm so nervous, I feel like I'm going to die. I never should have accepted this case. Eek! Good morning. Don't be so jumpy, Mia. I didn't do nothing. I swear, I didn't kill anybody. Terry Falls, my first client. Sentenced to death 5 years ago, and now a prison escapee. Just relax, Mia. Make small talk and try to relax him. So why did you escape anyway? Small talk. I'm sorry. I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. I didn't escape from nowhere. But Mr. Falls, the police just recaptured you 2 days ago. Sorry, I told a little lie. Oh boy. But anyway, I didn't do it. I never killed nobody. Sorry for asking, but you're on death row, right? I'm really sorry. They sentenced me to die 5 years ago, but I was tricked, I tell you. That woman, she lied in her testimony. That's why I got the death penalty. I swear it, I didn't kill her. I could never do that. This is gonna be a real bummer, by the way. 2 days ago, he escaped from the prison wagon when it crashed. Then about 8 hours later, a policewoman was murdered before the police could recapture him. The police believe that Terry Falls did it. After you escaped, did you meet a policewoman? Yeah, I did. She's the reason I escaped. So that much is true. He did meet with the victim. But I didn't kill her. She was alive when I left. She was alive. It's true. I can trust him, right? I mean, I should. Ha! Now, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you who this is. And I gotta be honest, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion. He's hotter with the mask. You're not gonna figure out the truth just by staring at the guy. Why are you here? I came to see how our little kitten was. This is gonna be a bit cringe, by the way. Our little kitten was doing all alone in the big scary lion's den. I thought maybe you'd like someone to play with. Where's Mr. Grossberg? Huh, that old man's probably still in bed. I bet he's clutching an empty bottle and mumbling in his sleep. Aren't I good enough? After all, it's me, Diego Armando. I didn't say. So, Diego Armando, if that is your real name, the finest attorney at Grossberg Law Offices is here for me. No. You've got it all wrong. Today, you're the finest. After all, it took an amazing amount of guts to take this case. Imagine, an escaped death row convict for a first client. Yeah, thanks. I sure wish I could get out of it, though. Relax. I just heard some good news. The prosecutor for today is fresh out of his diapers as well. Really? However, unlike a certain somebody who I won't mention, he's earned the reputation as a genius since beginning his law career. Genius? Well, it's about time to head in, kitten. Sharpen those claws of yours. It's time to go. Or it's go time, whatever. A solitary confinement cell for the condemned must be the world's loneliest place. Honestly, it's inhumane, but you know, it's hardly the only thing inhumane about our prison system, but that's not for today. And that's why my client ran away from. Every other lawyer gave up on him, but not me. When I saw those overflowing eyes and heard that simple childlike voice, I just had the feeling that he was telling the truth. Court's now in session for the trial of Terry Falls. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Now, unfortunately, Edgeworth has a flawless record, so that doesn't bode well for the ending of this, does it? I understand the lawyers for both sides are newcomers. Yes, Your Honor. I'm Mia Fey. Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. So you're the new prosecutors everyone's talking about, huh? Or A, this guy's Canadian, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna try. They say you joined the prosecutor's office at quite an early age. At 20, Your Honor. I guess our little kitten hasn't earned herself much of a reputation yet, huh? Come on, Mia. You can't lose, not to someone younger than you. Young people running a trial. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Now then, the defendant in this case is currently a felon on death row. 2 days ago, he escaped from a police wagon. Is that correct? Precisely. But the defendant is not on trial for escaping prison. On the day that the defendant escaped, a policewoman was murdered. So we're here to determine if Falls was responsible for her death. You got it, kitten. I know, I'm sorry. Well then, Mr. Edgeworth, let's hear your opening statement. Yes, Your Honor. It was 5 years ago. The defendant, Terry Falls, was sentenced to death in this very court. His crimes were kidnapping, extortion, and murder. The girl he threw off the bridge was only 14 years old. A truly horrible crime. I remember it well. There was no decisive evidence, so the trial was long and protracted. Correct. But in the end, what finally decided the case was a certain witness's testimony. A witness's testimony? The testimony of Detective Valerie Hawthorne, the person who confronted this criminal. She arrested Mr. Falls at the scene and later testified against him. She said she witnessed Mr. Falls throw his young victim into the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. So Miss Hawthorne's testimony was the one that put him away. That policewoman you just mentioned, that wouldn't be, exactly, the victim. The same woman that was killed 2 days ago. Police Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. Aha, I see. The man who was sentenced to death based on her testimony escaped 2 days ago, with only one thing on his mind, to take revenge against the woman who convicted him. Or maybe just to escape prison, given that he was being kept in solitary confinement for 5 years. You know, some inhumane shit. Ah, the truth's becoming clear to me now. Huh? Yes, yes. It's quite obvious the defendant is guilty. Wait a minute, that's not right. At least hear the case before you decide on the outcome, Your Honor. Watch yourself, Miss Fey. I'm not sure I care for your word choice or the tone of your voice. If I want to unduly prosecute someone, that's my God-given right. Young people these days simply don't know how to respect their elders. How old are you at this moment in time? Oh, you're not. Oh, no, he isn't there. He just looked slightly different for some reason. 20? Unbelievable. What a baby. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, please call your first witness. I call the detective who was in charge of this initial... I call the detective who was in charge of the initial investigation of this case. Witness, state your name and occupation. Gumshoe. Dick Gumshoe. I'm the homicide detective in charge of the case, sir. Finally got promoted to the detective division half a year ago. I don't believe anyone asked you about that. Hey, man. You got any idea how much work it takes? What is it? You're really gorgeous. Sir, what are you doing? Now is not the time. Oh, seriously, my heart, it's aching for you. What a Rizzler, man, goddamn. Detective, pull yourself together and try to be professional. Otherwise, I'll write you up on contempt so quick that something other than your heart will ache. Okay, I got it. That was pretty fucking inappropriate. Now, Detective, tell us about the incident. Yes, sir, right away. The victim was Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, a veteran on the police force. She was stabbed in the back with a knife and died from excessive blood loss. That much is already stated in the autopsy report. The court would like to hear more details about the incident itself. Yes, sir, I gotcha. Okay, let's take a look at this aerial map of the area. This is a sketch of Dusky Bridge, an old suspension bridge. And the river that runs under there is Eagle River. The victim and the defendant met there, on top of the bridge. After stabbing her in the back, the killer carried the victim back to his car. He was recaptured at a police checkpoint as he was trying to make his getaway, sir. I see. Was the victim's blood found on the bridge? The victim, Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, was wearing a thick coat, sir. Unfortunately, no traces of blood were found on the bridge. Seems hard to imagine, doesn't it? Like, you know, doesn't really matter how thick your coat is. At the end of the day, if you've got a fucking stab wound on it, you're probably gonna drip somewhere. Mr. Edgeworth, I warn you that I absolutely despise conjecture. If there was no blood on the bridge, then you have no proof that they even met there. Your Honor. If you would listen to the testimony we have prepared, I'm sure you'll be convinced. The two of them most certainly did meet on the bridge that day. Why, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm not sure I like you wagging your finger at me as though I were some hoser. Detective, proceed with your testimony. Yes, sir. Here we go, Mia, hang on. Okay now, listen carefully, kitten. One mistake and this guy will drink you for morning tea. Trust me and get ready. On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Falls. And that's where she was brutally murdered, sir. The criminal stuffed her body into his car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Falls was arrested at a police checkpoint we set up at the base of the mountain. So the obvious question here is, why would he bother taking the body in the car? Right? They're already at a convenient dumping location. You know, the falls. Not the falls, the river. Well, you know, I'm assuming there's a waterfall for some reason. The river, which is known for its really strong current. Why would he take the body with him? You know? That's the obvious, immediate question. Well, you certainly have established the importance of the bridge. Naturally. Now, would the defense please hurry up and proceed with the cross-examination? Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examination, coming right up. Hey, settle down there, kitten. If you keep trembling like that, you're gonna make me spill my coffee. I'm not trembling, it's just cold in here. The courtroom can be a cold battlefield, all right, especially for a beginner. I don't need you to worry about me. I mean the defendant, the witness. Everyone's a beginner in here. Huh. You got me there. But maybe you should keep your claws out and show them what you've got. I'm gonna stop saying it. It's okay, Mia. Stay calm. Just remember those court procedure videos you stayed up all night last night watching. I can't read today. Actually, what exactly is in the court record right now? Just the autopsy report? Knife in the back, blood loss, 4 or 5 p.m. And then, you know, 5 yards. Okay. This unknown person. You have no idea who it might be, right? Sorry, but I'm afraid I do. What? The one who called Sergeant Hawthorne was a defendant, Terry Falls. What? The defendant? The defendant called her? Sergeant Hawthorne was a very thorough person, sir. She left a note about her phone call with Mr. Falls. A note? Yeah, a top secret memo that she left in her desk. Well, what does this say? February 14th, 1 to 1 p.m. Falls, 4:30 p.m. at that bridge. Wear white scarf for identification. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. So, is she in here? Where's the scarf? Oh, whoops. The defendant, Terry Falls. Yeah. Whose bright idea was it to keep that note from me? Huh. Looks like the judge is even more sure of his verdict now. Listen up. Never ask a question if you don't already know the answer. That's surprisingly good advice, but it's not really an option you have in this game. It's that detective's fault. He's the one that said unknown person. Hey now, don't make that face at me. I just said that way because the prosecutor told me to. Was that a trap? With that cute face, I didn't expect him to be so sneaky. Yes, he is quite the manlet. You are correct. A bridge up in the mountains, but why meet there? Because it's a very important place to the defendant, that's why. What do you mean by that? If you remember, 5 years ago, the defendant kidnapped a young girl. He was chased onto a bridge, and it was there that he killed his hostage. And the place where all of this occurred is, of course, Dusky Bridge. The very place where Sergeant Hawthorne arrested and handcuffed Mr. Falls. Ha! Returning to the scene of the crime. How nostalgic. Was the body of the victim discovered right away? Yeah, we were really on the ball. We found the criminal within 1 hour of the murder. It was great. We even got to say, "Don't move, we've got you surrounded." Wait a second. Isn't there something weird about that? The location was a suspension bridge up in the mountains. So how did they find out about the crime so quickly? Sergeant Hawthorne must have mentioned the phone call to someone else, right? Haha. If that's what happened, then she wouldn't have been killed. She never mentioned the phone call from Mr. Falls, but she left a note on her desk about it. If only I'd noticed it earlier, maybe she'd still be alive. I wonder why she didn't mention the phone call to anyone. Mr. Falls had a car then. Well, that bridge is way up in the mountains, man. The defendant and the victim both went up there by car. I mean, how else, right? What? You mean the defendant drove his own car? No, of course not. It was stolen. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light. Oh, car thieves. I'm not sure how I feel about car thieves. He says as if, you know, there's some kind of good interpretation of that act. Is this guy sure about how he feels about anything? This is a photo of the stolen car's trunk. No scarf. Naturally, that's the body of Valerie Hawthorne in there. Whoa, that doesn't look too comfortable. It's a good thing she's dead, isn't it, Judge? The victim. She was stabbed in the back, correct? Yeah. Huh. For some reason, men always seem to get stabbed in the back. We're talking about a woman here. Yeah, what the fuck did that have to do with anything? You can't tell from this photo, but the knife was stuck in her back nice and firm. The condition of the body when it was discovered is very important information. Detective, was there anything strange or noteworthy in the trunk of the car? I don't see anything strange, do you? I'm presenting the phone call log because it mentions white scarf. There's no white scarf. Witness! What is it? Do you have something to say, Miss Faye? I'm sorry, I totally forgot what I was going to say. This is the first time I've had to actually address someone like that. Yeah, you should have practiced before coming to court. Honestly, Miss Faye, I'm not sure I like this. Say there, little... Want a piece of my fucking hell, dude. Say there, little kitten. Want a piece of my coffee candy. Oh, God. It was a different time. Candy. Well, you're still too young to be drinking real coffee. Yeah, come on, Mia, shake it off. You're a lawyer. Detective. Yes, ma'am? This photo. You said there was nothing peculiar about it. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what I said. Well, then I suggest you take another look at the note written by the victim. The note? It very clearly says, wear white scarf for identification. The caller must have forgotten what the victim looked like, thus this special request. I have one very simple question for you, Detective. Where's the white scarf? I can't seem to find it in this photo. Well, to be honest, we didn't find it in the trunk, ma'am. And you stopped there? You should have looked for it. No. The caller told her to wear it to identify herself, so I'd expect she did just that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this? I see the defense is a little lacking. The scarf you're searching so desperately for is this one, perchance. Where'd you find that, sir? On Dusky Bridge. I was there first and decided to conduct my own investigation. Why didn't you tell me? I made a decision to keep all pieces of evidence in my personal satchel. It's the safest place I know. That hotshot sure has a flair for the dramatic. It's not exactly white, as the caller requested. As you can see, it's close enough for what it was intended for. It looks like it spent some time in the mud. Not surprising. It was drizzling on the morning that day. Prosecutor Edgeworth. He was intentionally hiding that scarf the whole time. The court will accept the scarf into evidence. Okay. Now, if the attorney for the defense has finished embarrassing herself, I'd like to move on with the testimony. That is all right with you, isn't it, Miss Fay? Boy, would I like to wrap this scarf around his smarmy little neck. Very good. Now, if we're done with this mud-covered scarf business, the prosecution moves to establish conclusively, and with hard evidence, that Miss Hawthorne and Mr. Falls did indeed meet on the bridge that day. Furthermore, we will show exactly what occurred there. That sounds quite promising. I can't wait to hear all about it. Everything is moving at his whim. Don't forget, there's a reason why everyone considers this kid a genius. A genius, huh? Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. This photo was accidentally taken by a witness. It shows the Vic wearing the scarf, sir. It was drizzling that day, unfortunately. It's a little hard to see what's going on. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. That must have been when the scarf fell off. Looking at this photo, you really get the sense that this bridge is very high up. It's about a 40-foot drop from the bridge to the Eagle River down below. Mr. Edgeworth, who took this photo anyway? Let's just say that it was a well-intentioned third party. A potential witness. So why isn't this person in the courtroom? Well, they said they absolutely did not want to testify. The person in question is very delicate, Your Honor. Besides, as long as we have this photo, we see no reason to compel them to testify. I'm not sure how I feel about that. To be honest, fair enough. Alright, let's take a better look at that. We got anything cooking? Nothing immediately stands out as being particularly strange. No. You never know, you might see Mothman in the background or something. So as you can see, Terry Falls had both the motive and the opportunity. I think it's quite clear at this point what happened on that bridge. The truth is becoming clear to me now. Huh? Yes, it's quite obvious. He's clearly guilty. Not again, that's not fair. I haven't even done my cross-examination yet. What do you mean, Alright, refresh me. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Fucking explain? What do you mean? She's looking at him. Pretty clearly. I'm gonna press on this one first, before I present the picture. Is that part of the witness's testimony as well? Of course it is. He pushed the victim hard in the back and she fell down right on her stomach. I remember that happening once myself. It was really brutal. Are you talking about seeing someone get pushed, or were you the one getting pushed? Or does it mean that you pushed someone down like that once? With his mind-boggling tales and the way he said brutal, I wonder if he's Canadian. Huh. Save your nasty look for the right person. Take a look. Poor baby. The court record seems to have wet itself. Hey, watch you spill your coffee. Yeah. I just wanted to press to make sure it wasn't going to be some weird, you know, one of those weird ones. Wait, real? The autopsy report? What? Shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. I mean, you know. I guess not. That was the thing that immediately fucking stood out to me. I mean, you pointed me to the court record. What else could you possibly have me present here? I was so sure it was gonna be them. Like, they're looking at each other. You think she turned her back on this guy? Come on. You know what I mean? Alright, I guess I'll go fuck myself. Back it up. Maybe we need to get something else from pressing first. Who is this eyewitness? She's a college student. A female college student? That's right. Meaning she's female and a college student, ma'am. She doesn't do well in front of other people, so I came to testify for her. Maybe so, but as the attorney for the defense, I have the right to cross-examine her. For the time being, we are not relying on the witness's statement. That is all. What is that supposed to mean? The prosecution has other, more decisive evidence. Our case doesn't rest on the vague testimony of a female college student. A female college student, eh? It means she's female and a college student, sir. If you absolutely must hear her testimony, you'll have to give us a good reason why. Please tell us about the more decisive evidence in question. The Vic's wearing a scarf in this photo, alright. So about the witness who took this photo. What was this person doing all the way in the mountains? She was taking photos of wildflowers, apparently. There are many unusual types of flora on that mountain, Miss Faye. People in the area say it's because of the spirits that live there. Spirits? Now that you mention it, this photo. This cloudy fog-like thing. Is it a ghost? I don't believe it. That's a pretty fucking big ghost if it's a ghost, my friend. Wouldn't that be fucking sick, though, if there was just like a little figure hovering back here? No, Your Honor, no, I don't think it's a ghost. Drizzling, huh? That's right. There was a light rain coming down. The whole place was dreary. But not as dreary as the mood that's in this courtroom right now. Looks like a cold front just moved in. In any case, the point is that the area was quite damp. There was even some fog. I even slipped and fell while I was on the bridge. It was really something. So in other words, there was a struggle between the criminal and the victim, huh? That's what the witness said. Well, it looks like she didn't remember about the scarf. But from what she said, it sounded like a pretty violent fight, ma'am. The area was wet from rain. The bridge was probably wet too. Which would explain why the scarf was all covered in mud, but there's something about this testimony that's still bothering me. Well, you know, this wasn't it already. Like, you know. Like, you know, this... it seems to imply she turned her back on the person. I don't know why she would do this, but whatever. I'm not really sure what you... Well, so, another thing that is kind of weird is, like... Why is it muddy if it fell on the bridge? Does that mean it fell, like, all the way down? Why? Because there's no mud on the fucking bridge itself, is there? But I don't know that that's what it's cooking for me. So... I wasn't really expecting this to illuminate anything, but it actually did. It can't have fallen on any mud. It would have fallen straight in the river. Because the mud is over here, but that part of the bridge is broken. Right? You see what I mean? How did it get mud on it then? That means it must have fallen in this general area, but there's no mud under it. The bridge itself is clearly not coated in mud. So how did it get mud on it? God damn it. Maybe on the next statement. That must be when the scarf fell off. It would have fallen in the water. Real? Okay. I feel like that was a good point, personally. But apparently not. It's probably not this, but I did realize something else looking at the picture. Which is that, because again, the bridge is broken, you would have to assume they're on this part, right? That means that Valerie ended up on this side of the bridge, because they can't be stood over here. That means Falls is there, and Valerie is there. Because they can't be over there. How exactly did that happen? Shouldn't it have been Falls was waiting on the bridge, and then Valerie arrived? So they should be flipped in this photo? I don't think it's that, but, you know, something to bear in mind. Maybe it's like... Well, there's no mud on her jacket front, right? I can't really think of much else at this point. I feel like I've already tried to make the 2 points I could think of. All I've got left really is then like, alright, so the scarf's muddy, but the jacket isn't. Maybe that's the problem, even though the scarf could just fall off. And that would explain it, but... Yeah, maybe? Is that actually it? So at the time of the crime, there was a light drizzle coming down, correct? Yeah, and fog, too. Just a generally soggy atmosphere. Well, I have evidence that doesn't go with the soggy atmosphere. But this is a photo of the victim's body that was found in the car trunk. Considering the conditions at the scene of the crime, something isn't right. Well, by all means, please enlighten us as to what isn't right. The front of her jacket? Naturally, the answer is right around here, I think. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? It seems to me Miss Fay could use a trunk herself. What? One that she could hide all her bitter memories from in the trial in, that is. Oh, you truly are a genius. A genius of sarcasm and wordplay. It's like I realize... What's wrong with it, then? If it's not that... What, then? What is wrong with it? The fact she hasn't got her hat on? That's surely not... It's really easy to have a hat fall off. What the fuck's the problem, then? I've gotten to this point, but I don't understand why. There's nothing else going on. It's not the broken lock on the trunk, surely. I don't understand. It's not visibly raining now? There's no mud in the trunk either? This button's really fucking tight compared to the others? Like, what do you want from me, then? I don't understand. Is it that the trunk's too clean? No, apparently not. What the fuck is wrong with it, then? What's the problem with the photo? I don't understand. What the fuck? Okay, I'll be honest with you. I looked it up because I just couldn't think of anything else at this point. And it is the front of her jacket. I presented this already. What the fuck? Did I not click that? Did I just have a fucking stroke and click on a completely different part of the screen? What the fuck? Did I not just do that? Okay, whatever. The victim's coat. I think my point was better anyway. As far as I can see, there's nothing strange about it. That's exactly what's strange. Recall the testimony. What were the conditions on the bridge that day? It was drizzling and foggy. Dusky bridge was all wet. If the victim really had fallen down on her stomach on top of that bridge, then the front of the coat should have been covered in mud. I really don't buy this angle. Like, how much mud could realistically have been on the bridge? It can't get that much foot traffic. What? That's exactly right. The other day I fell on a muddy street and my gorgeous playoff beard was befouled. I do admit that the crime scene was quite wet that day. However, that doesn't mean that the top of the bridge itself was muddy. I agree completely, actually. If Your Honor had fallen in the shower instead of on a muddy street, your glorious hockey beard, pride of the legal league, would be wet, but not muddy. Fortunately, I have yet to test that. Still, your point is well taken. Can you prove the surface of the bridge was muddy that day? Surface of the bridge, well, I guess it's gonna be the scarf, but I don't buy that either, to be honest, but, you know. A real man wouldn't stand for a taunt like that. Neither would a real woman. Of course I can. Here's the evidence that proves the bridge was muddy. I'm also having trouble imagining that this scarf stayed on the bridge at all, given the conditions and the fact it's a fucking suspension bridge, you know? But whatever. The evidence is this scarf. It should be obvious. If the scarf fell on the bridge and got this muddy, it means the bridge was obviously covered in mud. No, I can't be outwitted by this novice bimbo. Whoa! Fucking hell, dude. Hey, same to you, buddy. Fucking dropping the bimbo bomb. Miss Faye's assertion makes perfect sense to me. Now, I do admit that there appears to be a contradiction between the conditions of the victim's coat and her scarf. However, the real question is, why is there a contradiction? Huh? For every contradiction, there exists an explanation. Let's look at what the explanation in this case may be, shall we? Alright. It's not like he's really giving me a choice. Ha! You're doing pretty well, for a little kitten. Mr. Armando! No matter what he says, a contradiction always comes down to a lie. It's either the victim discovered in the trunk, or the witness photo showing the defendant and the victim, or the witness's testimony that stated she saw the moment of the murder. Just relax and think it over. It's pretty simple, isn't it? The false evidence is one of those three. Well, it obviously can't be either of the two photographs, can it? What you just said now, I'm not sure I like that. That wasn't me, Your Honor. It was the coffee aficionado over here that said it. This court is not in the habit of accepting false evidence, you know. Blame it on him, Your Honor. He's the one trying to slip false evidence into court. But we won't let him. We'll expose his evidence as the flimsy scam it really is. Yes, the false evidence in this case is the witness's testimony. It can't be either of the other two things. It's a no-brainer. Obviously, it's the witness that's suspicious. During his earlier testimony, the detective pointed out a crucial fact. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Now, is that testimony exactly what the witness claims to have seen? Yeah, that's what the witness told us. That testimony is filled with holes. After all, the victim's coat isn't dirty at all. That's true. Huh. It's not just true, it's the truth. Right. If there was a truly decisive witness in this case, I'm certain that boy Wonder over there would have called them in the first place. Your Honor, the defense requests to cross-examine the eyewitness. The testimony presented so far is not only vague, but contradictory as well. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, it appears that we'll need to hear from your mystery witness after all. You should brace yourself for the brutal truth. Your Honor, the prosecution has no intention of hiding the witness from the court. We're prepared to present our witness at any time. Very well, please bring forth your witness at this time. What Mr. Edgeworth said kind of worries me. What does he mean by the brutal truth? Now, let's proceed with the testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, please go right ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution summons the woman who saw the events that day with her very own eyes. This is it, Mia. The battle begins here. Witness, what is your name and occupation? Everyone's so silent that I can hear their hearts going pitter-patter. Oh. When I look at you, how can I put it? You look as scrumptious as a double-double and a dozen donut holes. Hey. Oh, she's not in here yet. How old is Dahlia right now? I feel like I want to hurry up and hand down a verdict just to have a bite. Your Honor is being extremely inappropriate. Not so fast. As I said before, this witness is very sensitive and delicate. I would ask the court to please exercise care when addressing her. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. You are a true gentleman. Miss Fay, you could learn a lot from this man. If he's such a gentleman, he sure doesn't act like one to me. He did drop the bimbo bomb.
Sir?
Yes, my dear.
This is my first time, so I'm sure I'll make a lot of mistakes. Anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for all the trouble I might cause.
Not at all. It's no trouble at all. Now then, may we please have your name and occupation?
My name is, Melissa Foster.
Yep, that's true.
I'm a college student, a freshman in the literature department.
You were on the scene when the unfortunate event occurred, correct? And you were the one who took this photo, is that accurate?
How can you be so mean?
Now see here, what are you doing shoving that in her face like that? Huh? But it's just a photograph, it's not like it's something dangerous. Next time I'll be forced to penalize you. I don't like the turn this has taken. Can I see how old you are yet? 19? Your Honor. You're easily like 60 at least. Come on. Is she staring at me?
And you would be...
Huh? I'm the defense attorney. My name's Mia Fay.
I see. So you are.
Now then, young lady, could you please give us your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll do my best. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers. Then I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly, they just started fighting. That's when I hurried and took the photo that shows the crucial moment.
Well, but they aren't fighting in that photo.
And right after that, I called the police.
So you're saying you took the photo after they started fighting? This does not look like after they started fighting. By the way, where were you standing when the incident occurred? I believe the map would be of help here.
I was standing right over here. I was standing in a beautiful field, surrounded by tall cliffs.
So... I don't know, man. Seems a bit of a tall ask, to be honest, you know? Like, I guess it's not impossible, but my immediate gut instinct is just like, shouldn't you only be able to see, like, this much of the bridge? Right? Like, shouldn't you really, like, if you're standing, like, even if you stood, like, all the way over here, you shouldn't be able to see too well. Although I guess you can't tell if this is, like... No, she's taking it pretty fucking close to that wall, though, isn't she? I don't know, I'm not sure about the logistics on this one. Seems a little fishy to me. Because if the that means she has to be, like, here. I guess it's not impossible, but I feel like you should be able to see the broken boards in that case. So you took the photo from that location, eh?
I brought the camera I was using at the time, just like Mr. Edgeworth asked me to.
Oh ho, what a cute camera, just like its owner. Your Honor, please stop being weird. Alright then, Miss Faye, time for your cross-examination. But I warn you, make the witness cry again and you'll feel the wrath of my gavel. So... that's when I hurried and took the photo that shows the crucial moment. I'm gonna press on it first, because I've already been baited once. Why did you take a photo?
Well, the two of them were really going at it.
Yeah, I can see.
Ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a news reporter. I guess that part of me just kind of took over.
Smells like a lie to me. Yes, I completely understand. Even now, I can't completely abandon my boyhood dreams. I still use my grandson to test my comedy routines on. Oh, God. So you wanted to be a comedian, huh? Not that it has any bearing on this.
All I could do was use my camera, so I took the photo of the crucial moment and gave it to the police.
I don't know, ma'am. Witness. When you said you took a photo of the crucial moment, is this what you meant? All I can see in this photo are two people facing each other. You testified that you saw the two of them starting to fight. Normally that's the kind of thing that we would refer to as a crucial moment. Why haven't you presented a photo like that? Crazy that you'd fuck up this lie like that, isn't it? You know? Surely you should know what the photo looks like.
Well, you see...
The photo we presented was the only one there. But if you really wanted to capture the crucial moment, then what happened next? You must have taken a photo of it. No. My apologies, young lady, but Miss Faye's assertion is not without a certain amount of merit. He can certainly downplay a situation, can't he?
I'm sorry. I'm a very bad girl. I used it all up. The film, I mean.
You ran out of film?
This photo was the last one.
What? Was that even a camera that takes film? I guess it could be. Well, there's the fucking cylinder on the side. It was a different time. It's just the thought of having a camera that has film in it is like, ugh, you know. Unfortunately, that is the truth. I personally examined all of the photographs she took that day. All of the other photos were of the witness herself playing among the wild flowers. The witness herself? Then who took the photos? It's on a fucking tripod, Mia. It's literally on a tripod. What's wrong with you? Obviously, she didn't need to take them. Like, not physically anyway, you know what I mean.
You see, my camera has a timer feature built into it.
So you took photos of yourself? I remember taking some photos of myself once too. Please, no details. It seems Miss Faye's assertion was not so decisive after all.
What do you mean?
What? Wait. What do you mean?
Nothing about the assertion got contradicted. He did nothing to nothing happened to contest that assertion. She ran out of film. Okay, she still said she saw them fighting and then took a photo. That part hasn't changed, and that's still an issue.
Well, if she had no film left, she couldn't very well take more pictures.
But she said she saw them fighting and then started a picture. What's wrong with you? Nothing about this has been contested.
Miss Foster, perhaps you could tell us about a different sort of photo. Photos of the incident that you took with your very own eyes.
Mr. Edgeworth, you're quite the poet.
Very well then, let's go back to the cross-examination. Let's hear your thoughts on the fight that you witnessed.
Yes, Mr. Judge. I can't believe what just happened. Yeah, I'm searching for my drink. Hold on, remember to stay hydrated. I can't believe that nothing happened to contest the statement. You know, like, the crucial fact that her story is out of order did not change. It does not change by the fact that she has no more film.
Boy, this guy is really a sucker for sweet talk. Huh. It looks like the other kitten in the room is the one that's getting all the attention. Yeah, it's sickening. Alright. I was really expecting a new testimony, so I was quite surprised by this. So, problem. The bridge in the direction that she would have turned away from is A, away from her car, and B, that part of the bridge is broken. Witness, your testimony is a joke.
Huh? What? But I just...
Miss Fay, I thought I warned you not to make the witness cry. One short testimony and two bad contradictions. There's no possible excuse. You say there were two contradictions? It's simple. Just take a look at the diagram of the area. According to her testimony, the two of them were in the middle of the bridge. But if they were, and the victim had turned around and tried to run, well then... She would have hit a dead end. You said 10 yards, but she couldn't have even run 5. Because Dusky Bridge is collapsed on that side. What does all this mean? It's very simple, Your Honor. This charming little witness told a charming little lie. That's all there is to it. This beautiful young lady, Your Honor, has been lying to the court. Just a moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, allow me to personally apologize for the confusion. What do you mean? There's one major mistake in this diagram. What did you say? What are you referring to? It's all because this diagram was made after the incident occurred. It's a very old bridge. We couldn't find any official blueprints of it. So you're saying... I'm saying that even though this bridge is currently in disrepair, there's no evidence that can prove the bridge was broken during the incident. That's ridiculous! You can't actually tell the condition of the bridge from this photo. I apologize to the court for not being more clear when I presented the evidence. Huh. That guy's good. It has not changed another crucial part that she shouldn't be on that she shouldn't be on that side of the bridge. She's still running away from her car, and like, how did she end up in that position still, where Falls is on the other side of her? Huh? What do you mean? He planned it from the beginning. He's a genius, alright. That diagram of the bridge was his insurance policy. What? That coward. Well, Miss Fay, it seems you've once again made a reckless accusation.
I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful myself.
Who the fuck's complaining over there? Spud, what the fuck are you shouting about? Oh, no, it wasn't your fault. Now then, shall we go on with the trial? I'd like to establish once and for all what it was the witness actually saw. Indeed. All right, young lady, may I ask you to please proceed with your testimony?
But it's so hard to go on.
We're all on your side, Miss Foster.
There's no need to worry, just tell us what you saw. Yes, sir. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in her arms. Then he carried her over to the car. I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden.
Yeah, fucking obviously, dude.
He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge.
You're right. However...
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw.
Witnessing such violence must have been difficult.
Yes, sir, I'm still shaken up.
If he accepts this testimony as it is, we're finished.
Don't say that.
Oh well, maybe I'll stop off at my favorite cafe on the way home. They make a really great mocha latte.
This trial isn't over yet.
Huh. That's what I like to hear. All right, Miss Fay, your cross-examination, if you please. With contradiction staring you right in the face, Mia, go on the attack.
Yeah, you know... If only there was something else he could have done with the body, right? You know.
Now I'm gonna press again before I present the map.
You mean the defendant carried the body all by himself? That's your angle? Yes.
Considering the size of the defendant, I don't think it would be difficult.
Yes, but let's remember they were on a narrow bridge that was ready to collapse. Is it even possible for him to have carried a dead body on a bridge like that?
Well, the fact of the matter is, he did. That kind of talk is just silly.
Wow, why'd he get so emotional all of a sudden?
Miss Fay, if you think there's another possibility, please share it with the rest of us.
Alright, I'm presenting the map. Hello, Spot. A killer not wanting his victim to be found. I can understand that. However, the idea of moving the body for that purpose is clearly odd. There was a much easier way to make sure the body wasn't found.
Well, what is it?
Take another look at the map of the area and you'll see how. Apparently, a body that he should know fell in this river was also never recovered, so he should definitely know this is a good place to dump a body. There's a river right below the bridge. Earlier, Mr. Edgeworth pointed out something interesting about the river.
For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. Ah.
In the kidnapping case 5 years ago, the victim's body was carried away and never found. If 10 murders were to occur at that same spot above the river, you can bet your boots that every other killer would have tossed the body in the water.
Order, order, order. I'm not sure I care for the way that you put that, Miss Fay, but I must admit it does seem odd to have not thrown the body into the river.
Oh.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth? Ah, how sad.
Perhaps Miss Fay would do well to try taking a dip in the river herself.
After all, you claim to be such an expert in the ways of nature.
What are you talking about?
My point is that no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is that it is what the killer did. None of your arguments have anything to do with what the witness saw. Quite true.
But you have to explain why he did it like this, though.
It seems your assertion is without merit after all.
But what the witness claims to have seen is totally ridiculous.
Surely you can't deny that the body was found in the trunk of the car. That's certainly consistent with what the witness has told us. Yeah. Please, witness, go on with your testimony.
I'll try.
All you have to do is tell us only what you saw. Otherwise, the mean lady might yell at you again.
Who's he talking about? All right. I'll do my best.
Well, I mean...
Yeah. This got added, so this is obviously the thing. And I mean, like... Yeah. That did pretty clearly happen.
What did the man do then?
Well, naturally he got in the car and was about to flee. That's when I came to my senses. I said to myself, you have to call the police.
And so that's when you called the police. You're sure you saw that with your own eyes?
Yes, I'm 100% certain.
So? How could you see that? Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time.
Done what?
Made a crucial mistake. A crucial mistake? Like what, Miss Fay? The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your very own eyes?
Yes, and...
It's simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at the diagram. The place you claim to have taken the photo from that day is here. Do you see what I mean? Even if you tried to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way. That's right, Miss Foster. From where you were standing, you could not possibly have seen the killer's car. I admit that the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall that it would be able to stop her from seeing the car.
That's right. It's not that high at all. I was able to see his car just fine.
I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash. I believe it was the witness who presented this as evidence to the court, yes? This is the location the photo was taken from. Your own photo tells the whole story. You can clearly see the left side of the bridge. But the outcropping that is being referred to is really more like a cliff. Ah. Your view should have been completely cut off by this cliff, but you still claim to have been able to see the killer's car.
No.
Order in the court. What is the meaning of all this ballyhoo? Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee fled in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate the witness was very upset. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself that she saw it, in which case her testimony is a waste of time. But she was repeatedly warned before starting her testimony. She was told to testify about only what she saw with her own eyes. Oh.
Mr. Judge.
What is it?
I think I must have remembered things wrong.
Hey, wait a minute, you can't just say that. Miss Fay, no one on the face of the planet is perfect. Yes, indeed. Quite true. You know what they say. To err is human, to forgive divine. I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt to our witness here. Of course. Why not? What? That's not fair. Huh. Save the tears for later. Mr. Armando, don't look back until the trial is over. Now is the time to go forward. But that wasn't fair. Okay, you need to relax. Then you need to remember. The other kitten's testimony.
The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there.
So tell me, how did she know that? How did she know that he broke into the trunk? Uh-huh. Well, Miss Foster, can you explain how you knew that? You're going to have a lot of suspicious people on this side of the courtroom. Well, witness?
Well, I'm certain that he broke into the trunk. Because there were marks left on the trunk lid. I'm certain they were scratch marks from when he broke into it.
What? Let me see that photo. It's true. They certainly look like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious this trunk has been broken open. Well, Miss Fay, are you satisfied? The judge is on her side. I can't make any mistakes.
Well, I mean, like, it's true that that trunk is broken into, but like, how do you know? You didn't see it, did you? How do you know there were scratch marks? Allegedly, you know, unless you were right next to the car, you shouldn't have been able to see the scratch marks. Melissa Foster, it looks like you finally betrayed yourself. What? You said you were in a field taking photos of wild flowers, but even so, you knew about the scratches. The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches? Finally, I finally got her. Ha, I'm getting pretty tired of waiting over here. Then perhaps it would be faster if Miss Fay explained herself. Your Honor, there's only one possible explanation. The reason the witness had seen the scratches was... I mean, this is a bold assertion to make, but, you know. There's only one way the witness had the chance to see those scratches. Yes, what is it? Naturally, when she opened the trunk and stuffed the corpse in herself. The person who really hid the body in the trunk of that car was Melissa Foster. It was you that did it, wasn't it? That's ridiculous. I could never. It was the man in the prison garb. He's the one that... I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Falls had been the one to put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There was no need to break it open. But he stole the car. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting in a red light, which means the key would have still been in the ignition. True, didn't even think of that. Oh, I see. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we would never have uncovered the truth. That it couldn't have been Mr. Falls that put the body in the trunk. No. Preposterous to even suggest the witness put the body in there. If that were true, then how do you explain the photo she took? The corpse could have only been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. And we already know at the time she was taking photographs. It's on a timer. Now's your chance, Mia. Finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Mr. Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shutter for this may not have been pushed by Foster herself. Let's take another look at this camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built into it, even a mini tripod. Why, it's almost as if she brought this camera just to take this picture. What are you trying to say then, Miss Fay? That when the crime occurred, Miss Foster wasn't in the field as she claimed? Well, if she really did use the camera's auto timer, then the answer is yes, she was somewhere else. Exactly. She was not in the field. Will the defense please explain further? Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was Miss Foster when the incident occurred? In answering that question, we'll make clear Miss Foster's true identity. Well then, please answer this question. Where was Melissa Foster when the incident on the bridge occurred? She was right here. Naturally, the witness was right here. But that's where the victim, Miss Hawthorne, was standing. Order. Miss Fay, what on earth? Your Honor, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. But this would mean that there was no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it could only have been before the defendant met the victim. How asinine. Of course Mr. Falls met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to put the victim in the trunk is the same man that killed her, Terry Falls. You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edgeworth? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne. What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life. Then who exactly is the victim in this photo? It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness. What? It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Falls met on that bridge was not Valerie Hawthorne.
It was you, Melissa Foster.
Me?
Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Falls himself believed that the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne. But the defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well. After all, she was the woman whose testimony helped get him convicted. But since then, my client has spent 5 hard years in a federal penitentiary. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore. You're just making this up as you go along. Where's your proof? I've got it right here. This piece of evidence will blow this case right open. It's the phone log, or the log, the note. Mr. Falls had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed some piece of identification. Namely, this muddy scarf. It was Mr. Falls who requested that she wear this scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you were wearing a scarf like he asked, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster?
No.
She's dead. Where's Miss Foster? She's collecting herself in the lobby. It's obvious Melissa Foster did it. She hid the body in the trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together. The only question is, why did she do it? Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit. Huh. Well, we'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose herself before we start again. Until then, this court is in recess. The defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies. Yes, Your Honor. Understood. Very well. This court is in recess. God. It's a shame that we already know that this case ends in failure, isn't it? Since Edgeworth starts with a flawless record. But that's, you can't win them all. You can't win them all.